So hello and welcome. So this is another session of practicing the critical reasoning section from the official guide 2022. More specifically, the GMAT official guide 2022. Earlier, I have done the easier section. In the last video, I have done the first 10 question of the medium section. That means medium section in terms of its difficulty. Now today I will further move forward with question number 717 and so on. So just let's start directly to the question. He shook. One should not readily believe urban legends. Most legends are propagated because the moral lesson underlying them supports a political agenda. Okay, people will repeat a tale if it fits a purpose. They may not deliberately spread untruth, but neither are they particularly motivated to investigate deeply to determine if the tale they are telling is true. Kyla says, but people would not repeat stories that they did not believe were true. Therefore, one can safely assume that if a story has been repeated by enough people, then it is more likely to be true. Kyla's reply is most vulnerable to the criticism that it is people will repeat a tale if it fits the purpose. They may not deliberate spectral, but neither are they particularly motivated to deeply investigate or determine if the tale they are telling is true. But people would not repeat stories that they did not believe were true. Therefore, one can safely assume that if a story has been repeated by enough people, then it is more likely to be true. Kaila's criticism is vulnerable because it does not specify how many people need to repeat a story before someone is justified believing it. It can be uh, overstate the significance of political agendas in retelling of stories. This is logical but out of context. Okay. Fails to address the claim that people will not verify the truth of a story that fits their purpose. This can be implicitly supports that claim that the people repeating legends are not deliberately spreading untruths. Implicitly supports the claim that the people repeating legends cannot distinguish people's motivation for repeating unborn legends from their motivation of repeating other types of story. Okay, it seems a little bit tough. All four seems to be correct answer. But people would not repeat stories that they did not believe were true. Therefore, one can safely assume that if a story has been repeated enough by people, then it is more likely to be true. Does not specify how many people need to repeat a story before someone is justified believing it. I think this is the weaker one. Fails to address the claim that people will not verify the truth of a story that fits their purpose. I think this is a stronger point. Implicitly supports the claim that the people repeating legends are not deliberately spreading untruth. Okay. Cannot distinguish people's motivation for repeating urban legends from the motivation of repeating any other. I will go with C. It seems to be a stronger point for me. Okay, let's move on to 718. Rainwater contains hydrogen of a heavy form called deuterium. Deuterium content of wood reflects the deuterium content of rainwater available to trees during their growth. Okay, wood from trees that grew between 1600 to 24 hours ago in North America contains significantly more deuterium than wood from trees growing today. But water trapped in several North American caves that formed during the same early period contains significantly less deuterium than rainwater of North America today. Which one of them is true? Most help to reconcile the two findings. Okay, there is little deuterium in North American caves other than the deuterium in the water trapped there. There is little deuterium in the North American caves other than the deuterium in the water trapped there. Exposure to water after tree has died does not change the deuterium content of the wood. This is a weak statement. It does not help us to decipher why there is a difference. Industrialization in North America over the past 100 years have altered the deuterium content of rain. This is insignificant. Trees draw on shallow groundwater from rain that falls during their growth, whereas water trapped in caves may have fallen as rainwater thousands of years before the caves formed. Okay, this can also be wood with a high deuterium content is more likely to remain preserved for long periods than wood. This is out of context. So between A and D, rainwater contains hydrogen of heavy carbon. Okay, deuterium content of wood represents truth today. But water trapped in several North American caves that formed during the same period contains significantly less. There is a little deuterium in North American caves other than the deuterium in the water trap. I will go with D. It seems more logical. Enforcement of local speed limits through police monitoring has proven unsuccessful in town of Arden. In many nearby towns, speed bumps, raised areas of pavement, have reduced traffic speed on residential street by 20 to 25%. In order to reduce traffic speed and thereby enhance safety in residential neighborhood, Arden Transport Commission plans to install multiple speed bumps in those neighborhoods. Enforcement of local speed limits through police monitoring has proven unsuccessful. Local speed limit in many nearby times. Okay, this is in nearby towns. Which one out of one is true? Identify the potential serious drawback to the plan for installing speed bumps in Arden. On residential street without speed bumps, many vehicles travel at speed more than 25% above the posted limit. This is not helping. Okay, because of their high weight, emergency vehicles such as fire trucks and ambulances must slow. Okay, this can be a drawback. The residential speed limit in Arden is higher than the nearby towns where speed bumps were installed. So this has nothing to do with the speed bumps. Motorists who are not familiar with the streets in Arden residential would be likely to encounter the speed bumps unawares unless warned by signs and painted indicators. So this is execution part. It does not help. Bicyclists generally prefer the speed bumps to be constructed so as to leave space on the side of the road where bicycle travel without going over the humps. This is also out of context. So we are leaving with B only. I think this is the correct answer. Okay, 720. Which one of the choices most logically completes the argument. Now News, although still the most popular magazine covering cultural events in Calopolis, has it suffered a significant drop in advertising revenue because of falling circulation. Many readers have begun buying a competing magazine that at 50% per copy costs less than Now News at uh, 1.5 per copy. In order to boost circulation and thus increase the advertising revenue, Now News publisher has proposed making it available at no charge. However, this proposal has a serious drawback since those California residents with the greatest interest in cultural events are regular readers of both magazines. Okay, so what? One reason Now News fell circulation was that its computer reporting on cultural events was superior. Okay, yeah, this can be a drawback for the Now News. The newsstands and stores that currently sell Now News will no longer carry it if it is being given away for free. Okay, this can also be. At present, 10% of the total number of copies of each issue of Now News are distributed free to students on college campuses in Calopolis area. Out of context, Now News companies will begin to lose large amounts of money if they are forced to lower its cover price. Out of context, between B and C, the competitors, one reason Now News circulation failed was that its competitors' reporting on cultural events was superior. Okay, so is there anything about superiority mentioned here? Many readers have begun buying competing magazine that at 50% per copy costs less than Now News. So nothing has been mentioned about superiority, though it may sound logical. Okay. The newsstand and stores that currently sell Now News will no longer carry it if it is given away for free. This is the strongest reason because it is directly related to the cost one. So I will go with C. Move on to the next question. 721. Archaeologist, researchers excavating a burial site in Cyprus found a feline skeleton lying near a human skeleton. Both skeletons were in the same sediment at the same depth and equally well preserved, suggesting that a feline and human were buried together about 950 years ago. This shows that felines were domesticated around the time farming began, when they would have been useful in protecting stores of grains from mice. Okay, which are not following true would most seriously weaken the archaeologist argument. Okay. Archaeologists have found not found any remains of stores of grains in the immediate vicinity of the burial site. This is out of context. What is the context here? These felines were domesticated when farming began. Domesticated around the same time when farming. This is point 1. And when they would have been useful in protection. So this is the purpose. But if there is no store in vicinity, doesn't mean they were not used at store. Okay. The burial site in Cyprus is substantially older than any other known burial site in which feline skeleton and human appear to have been buried together. Not important. Insignificant paintings found near the burial site seem to show people keeping felines as domestic companions, but do not. Okay, this is out of context. Okay, in Cyprus there are many burial sites dating from in which remains of wild animals appear to have been buried alongside human remains. Okay, this can be because it weakens the argument. Before felines were domesticated, elephants had no effective way to protect stores of grains. This is out of context. So this weekends, I think D is the answer. Because this weekends the idea, right? Because wild animals are also there, so it can't be said that they were domesticated or used to kill the mice or anything. 722. Farmers, several people in the past few years have claimed to have been seen a mountain lion in the suburban outskirts, the latest just last month. And while mountain lions were thought to have been driven from the center region about 20 years ago, there is no reason for the people who reported seeing a mountain lion to have deliberately contacted a false report. Therefore, local wildlife managers should begin to urgently address the mountain lion's presence. Seen a mountain lion in the suburban outskirts, the latest just last month. And while mountain lions were thought to have been driven from the center region about 20 years ago, there is no reason for the people concocted a false report. Which one of the following, if true, most seriously weaken the farmer's argument? Therefore, local wildlife managers should begin urgently address the mountain lion's presence. So we can see argument. Let's see. Farmers in the suburban outskirts mostly raise cattle and hogs, which, when fully grown, are generally not attacked by mountain lions. This is out of context. They attack or not, that is not the reason. Mountain lions are dissimilar in size and color to other wild animals found near the outskirts. So this is one property we are not interested. No person who claimed to have seen a mountain lion had anyone else with them at the property site. This can weaken, yeah. There have been no regional reports in the past year of mountain lions migrating to this area. This can weaken, yes. Recent survey shows that more than half of the people in the region report that they have never seen a mountain lion before. Recent surveys show that more than half of the people in the region report that they have never seen a mountain lion before. So more than half means, so they have seen or not seen is not our question, whether it is present or not. So this is also out between C and D. No person who claimed to have seen a mountain lion had anyone else with them at the property sighting. But it doesn't mean that he has seen anything else. There have been no regional reports in the past year of mountain lions migrating to that area. So this is the past year. That doesn't mean that there is no lion this year. So I will go with C. Even though I find this a little funny, but I have to answer this because I find this one is stronger than D. Okay, let's move to 723. The heavy traffic in Masana is growing drain on the city's economy. Growing drain, okay. The clogging of streets of the central business district alone cost the economy more than $1 billion. over the past year. In order to address this problem, officials plan to introduce congestion pricing, by which driver would pay to enter the city's most heavily traffic area during the busiest times of the day. Which one of the following, if true, would most strongly indicate that the plan will be a success? Okay. Approximately one-fifth of the vehicles in the central business district are in transit from one side to others. So, does this mean it will be a success? I don't think so. Planners expect that without congestion pricing, traffic in Masana is likely to grow by 6% in the next 5 years. So, this is expectation. It is not the result. In other urban areas, congestion pricing has strongly encouraged carpooling sharing. Okay, it's good, but whether it will be a success or not, I don't know, but still I will leave it open. Several studies have shown that a reduction in traffic of 15% in Masana could result in new jobs. It doesn't show will it be a success or not. What 30% of vehicles in the city center are occupied by more than 1%? What 30% of the vehicles in the city center are occupied by more than 1%? This has nothing to do with the success or failure. I think C can be the answer because this is the strongest, therefore, and nothing else. This is strongest among the 5. I don't think. Okay, 724. Economist. The most economically efficient way to reduce the emission of air pollution is to tax them in proportion to the damage they are likely to cause. But in country why many serious pollutants are undertaxed and unregulated, and policymakers strongly oppose new taxes. Therefore, the best way to achieve a reduction in air pollutant emission in country would be to institute fixed upper limits on them. Which one of the following is an assumption on the economist's argument? The argument is would be to institute fixed upper limits. Policymakers in country-wide oppose all new taxes equally strongly regardless of any benefits they may provide. Yes, this can be. Country-wide air pollutant emission would not fall significantly if they were taxed in proportion to the damage they are likely to cause. Illogical. Yes. It is actually weakening. Policymakers in country strongly favor reduction in air pollution emission. So, nothing to do with this. Okay. Country-wise policy makers believe that air pollution emissions should be reduced to maximum economic efficiency. Out of context, policymakers in country-wide do not oppose setting fixed upper limits on air pollutant emission as strongly as they oppose new taxes. So these two are in the competition. Policymakers in country-wide oppose all new taxes equally strongly regardless of any benefits they may provide. Policymakers in country-wide do not oppose setting fixed upper limits on air pollutants emission as strongly as they oppose new taxes. So I will go with E because it seems more logical. Why does it seem logical? Because it gives a comparison. Here there is no comparison. Policymakers in country Y oppose all new taxes equally strongly regardless of any benefit they provide. See this sentence, but in country Y many serious pollutants are untaxed and unregulated and policymakers strongly oppose new taxes. Therefore, I think I will go with E. But it gives a comparison. 725 humans get Lyme disease from infected ticks. Ticks get infected by feeding on animals with Lyme disease, but the ease of transmission from host animals to tick varies. With most species of host animal, transmission of Lyme disease to ticks is extremely rare, but white-footed mice are an exception, readily passing Lyme disease to ticks, and white-footed mouse population greatly expand, becoming the main food source for ticks. Okay. In areas where biodiversity is in decline, information in the passage most strongly supports which of the following. In areas where humans are infected by Lyme disease, the proportion of ticks infected with Lyme disease is especially high. Maybe very few animals that live in areas where there are no white-footed mice are infected with Lyme disease. Let me read it once to get it clear. Humans get Lyme disease from infected ticks. Okay, number one. Ticks get infected by feeding on animals with Lyme disease. Okay, so there is a relation, but the ease of transmission from host animal to ticks varies. With most species of host animal, transmission of Lyme disease to ticks is extremely rare, but white-footed mice are an exception. They readily pass Lyme disease to ticks, and white-footed mouse population greatly expand, becoming the main food source for ticks. In areas where biodiversity is in decline, this line is the main source of problems. White-footed mouse population greatly expand in areas where biodiversity is in decline. In areas where many humans are infected by Lyme disease, the proportion of ticks infected by Lyme disease is especially high. Very few animals that live in areas where there are no white-footed mice are infected by Lyme disease. Humans are less at risk of contracting Lyme disease in areas where the biodiversity is high. Okay, this can be. I think this is a weak statement. Ticks feed on white-footed mice only when other host species are not available to them. Biodiversity is in decline. The greater the biodiversity of an area, the more likely any given host animal in that area is to pass Lyme disease. Ticks, no. This is certainly not. Okay, so the information in the passage most strongly supports which one of the following. In areas where many humans are infected with Lyme disease, the proportion of ticks infected with Lyme disease is especially high. Nothing said about the proportionality. There can be one tick which affects multiple human beings, correct? This can also be correct. Humans are less at risk contracting Lyme disease in areas where biodiversity is high. But it doesn't say whether white-footed mouse is present or not. So I will remove it. Ticks feed on white-footed mice only when other host physics are not available to them. No, that may not be. So I will go with A. Yeah, I think A is quite logical. So the final question. Many industrialized nations are trying to reduce atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide gas at least by burning of fossil fuels. One proposal is to replace conventional cement, which is made from calcium carbonate, by new eco cement. This new cement, made with magnesium carbonate, absorbs large amount of carbon dioxide when exposed to atmosphere. Therefore, using eco cement for new concrete buildings projects will significantly help to reduce atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide. Which one of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument? The cost of magnesium carbonate, currently greater than the cost of calcium carbonate, probably will fall as magnesium carbonate is used in cement manufacture. Okay, this can be. Eco cement is strengthened when absorbed carbon dioxide reacts with the cement. We are not interested with the strengthening. Okay. Before the development of eco cement, magnesium based cement was considered too susceptible to water erosion to be practical use. This is out of context. The manufacture of eco cement uses considerably less fossil fuel per unit of cement than the manufacture of conventional cement. Okay. Most building industry groups are unaware of the development or availability of cement. This is also not supporting, correct? Not strengthening the argument. Okay, between A and C, which one of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument? Argument is help reduce atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide. This is our main point. The cost of magnesium carbonate, currently greater than cost of calcium carbonate, probably will fall as more magnesium carbonate is used in cement manufacture. I think this can be a strong asset also. The manufacture of eco cement uses less fossil fuel per unit of cement than the manufacture of conventional cement does. Which one? See, cost is not our concern. So I will eliminate this. The cost of magnesium is currently eco cement is strengthened when absorbed carbon dioxide react with the cement. I think I should go with B because it directly relates to this one. Okay, because that they are absorbing it. See, this one is also strong one. The cost of magnesium carbonate currently greater than cost of calcium probably will fall. So it is not strengthening. But it is not saying anything about reduction in atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide. It is still a contender. Even this is also this is quite tough. The difference are very subtle. I mean, in which way you want to take the cost, or you will say that this is a property that will enhance the cement, or it is using less fossil fuel. See, here it is said that by burning of fossil fuels. So this is I will go for this. Yeah, I will go for D. Yeah, because it mentions of fossil fuel. Yeah. Okay, so this is it, and I have to check the answer from 717 to 726. So I have to see from 717 to 726. It is C, D, B, C. Okay, C, D, B, C. Then D, C, C, E. D, C, C, E. Okay, D, C, C, E. Then C, D. Oh my God, another wrong. Every day I am getting one wrong. See, 726 I made it correct because of the fossil fuel check, but 725. Okay, let's go to the explanation. Yeah. Humans get Lyme disease. Okay, so I made this wrong. From infected ticks, ticks get infected by feeding on animals, which Lyme disease is, but the ease of transmission from the host to tick varies with most animal transmission of Lyme disease and this. The information in the passage most strongly supports which one of the following. In areas where human beings are infected with Lyme disease, the proportion of ticks infected with Lyme disease is especially high. So initially I told that if human beings are infected, that doesn't mean that the proportion of ticks infected with Lyme will be more. There can be one tick, they are affecting more. So I think that logic was correct. Why I don't know. I opted for A, and which became wrong. Okay, so I think my previous logic stands. Very few animals that live in areas where there are no white-footed mice are infected with Lyme disease. So this is out of context. Humans are at risk of contracting Lyme disease in areas where biodiversity is high. Okay. So if biodiversity is high, what I justified that time for eliminating is, if biodiversity is high, this doesn't mean that white mice will be less. Even though it is said that white-footed mouse population greatly expand in areas where biodiversity is in decline. So if biodiversity is high, that doesn't mean that white-footed mouse is less. They are not expanding. So that was my reasoning. I have to see what reason they have given. What conclusion you stated? Since declining the biodiversity or to increase the white-footed mice are especially likely to pass language of ticks and ticks passes to human. Declining biodiversity could reasonably be expected to increase the increase of language of ticks. In areas where many humans are infected with Lyme disease, the total number of ticks may be usually high. So even if the number of infected ticks is unusually high, the proportion of infected ticks may not be really high. Okay, yeah, so this was my justification as before. Most animals with Lyme disease may get it from sources other than ticks that have fed on infected mice. Okay. Option D was ticks feed on white-footed mice only when other hosts are not available to them. Even if ticks feed on white-footed mice when other hosts are not available to them, they may also sometimes feed on white-footed mice when there are many other species for them to feed on. Yeah, sounds logical. The greater the biodiversity of an area, the more likely any given host animal in that area is to pass Lyme disease to ticks. The passage suggests that the overall incidence of Lyme disease is probably lower in more biodiverse areas, so any given host animal in those areas would probably be less likely to pass. Why this is correct? If biodiversity is high, then the biodiversity decline that has already begun has likely not yet reached a point where white-footed mouse populations have greatly expanded. So the risk of people contracting Lyme disease is still relatively less than in areas where biodiversity is low and where significant decline in biodiversity has likely already occurred. Okay, that seems correct, but I reasoned something different. But we have to go with the official answer. So that's all. Thank you, and I will move on to other questions later.